might better turn down the Clarks before they get after me for copyright infringement or some shit. The next bit of progress that I'm going to make is I have to take it down to get the catalytic converter put back on. So that means pushing this back to the point where I can get it to go out of the garage, and I guess I'll start pushing. Time for a time warp. All right, back in the car today, and I've got two tasks. One, I decided that the shifter throw was too short, and I did a 4.3 instead of a 4.5. That was kind of embarrassing and could be harmful at real revs. Fortunately, I was on the street, so it was no big deal, just a little clutch wear. So I'm going to install a shifter extender, which... Oh, I also had some concern about actually reaching the shifter once I'm strapped into a 6-point harness and a hands device. The other thing I want to do is get the horn working again, because I have an state inspection coming up and the horn has to be functional for that. So down here I've unplugged this harness, which unfortunately I can't just cut right off, because it also affects my turn signals, and those have to be road legal. Oh boy. Is there another? Ah, no. There's another harness here with... And this is the part where I realize that the easy way to test this is not to mess around with jumper wires, but I can plug this back in and decide if I got the right harness immediately, because if the horn doesn't beep, then I pulled the right harness and the right wires are in it. Okay, that makes me happy. And just as a test, I probably should not. Yep. Okay. Reconnect it. I get a horn. It occurs to me that I've committed a huge internet faux pas by not doing an unboxing. But I've got my hub ring. Yeah, there's definitely a depression in the back of this for the airbag pins. Alright, I think they've actually made this easier than I realized, because here's the blue pin, which I bet is... yeah, that's attached to here, and this black pin. I bet money that these are the two horn bits. Yeah, because all of these other wires go straight to the airbag actuator, which I probably shouldn't touch as much as I'm touching, which means I can either play to figure... that's these two pins. Except it's female on this side and male on the other. And the adapters that they gave me and want me to use are definitely male adapters. I've heard reports of these things blowing from static electricity, so this is going to be super exciting. This is probably the closest that I will ever come to being a bomb disposal technician. Although in this case it's not a matter of snipping the right wire, it's merely a matter of hoping that there's no static discharge when I snip wires. Oh hey, look, that's conveniently coming apart. And I'll bet this will too. Yes, with all sorts of goop everywhere. Great, thanks. Alright, so... maybe if I snip them one at a time, it won't blow? And maybe it won't blow at all. Maybe I'll just get lucky. boring, but safe. And I'm cool with that. Alright. Sorry, no drama. That would have been a hell of a video. Loud. Probably not dangerous from this angle, but not something I really wanted to have happen to me today. Sliding up and down the wire is a pain in the butt to get this off. Ugh. God, this is harder to get off than my first wife. Well, it'd probably be easy if I could just did care about cutting my fingers. And I do have to eventually disable the steering lock, but for now it makes it really easy to torque and untorque things. Oh, I didn't bring my hearing, whatever. What am I catching on? I'm actually catching on the... There we go. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Very careful with that. Well, it's not pretty, but that appears to be what I envisioned. All right, good. I should just time warp that shit, right? There we go. All right. Excellent. Now, for the quick release. Like, don't get me wrong, in terms of car problems, this is fairly trivial, but this is, you know, one of these connectors, one of these, and those are the type that fit together. The hub provided two of the, I don't know, I guess you would call these female or whatever. So that would work together, but not that. And then what's coming out of the steering wheel is entirely random. These both appear to be accepting of the blade, but they're actually not the right size. So this is going to require a little bit of adapting and possibly crimping and possibly cutting or soldering or something. And it occurs to me that maybe brute force is just the way to go. It doesn't really matter which side the connectors are, because as long as they complete a circuit, it doesn't really matter which one's hot and which one's not.
2 minutes later.
Well, that required considerably less brutane than I thought it was going to take, so a little bit of lec tape and secure these connections a little better, and should be able to get some bolts on. Blue is my favorite color, if you haven't figured it out. Oh, and they included the right size hex wrench, so I don't have to go mucking about in my tool chest. That was nice of them. Took some lessons from IKEA, I guess. Of course, I can assure you that NRG stuff is much much more expensive than anything I've ever bought at IKEA. Poopy. Yeah, normally I just say shit, but that was one of those things where it fell where I can see it, so it didn't seem to warrant a shit. Ooh, fuck. Okay, that was worth a fuck. Oh, hey, a Christmas tree. Little trees. Yeehaw. I've driven past where the factory used to be. It's not there anymore. It probably moved to China with everything else, but for a while there it was in New Hampshire. And in theory, the operation was successful. Hopefully the patient didn't die. Yes. And I decided to get out of the car because I don't really have to be in it to assemble these bits. Is, am I feeling confident enough to tighten it down? And I think the answer is no, so let me go test it. Oh, look at me, how fancy I am with the camera angle showing me getting in and everything. All right, so allegedly this should just fit right on. Obviously it's loose for now, but all right, it horns. Good. And it comes off. Excellent. All right, now all I have to do is time-lapse the official threading of the bolts and remember to use a little bit of thread locker, and we'll be good. Well, maybe not. It's so much easier to work without the steering wheel in the way. But today's task is to figure out what these two nuts are doing in this shift lever extension kit. I'm going to assume that it has something to do with getting this to fit right and not making the lever arch away from me, which is going to make it even harder to shift when I'm harnessed in. Oh, that's great. Well, that's simply brilliant. All kinds of problems here, huh? The thread pitch on the extender seems to be coarser and a little bit narrower. Yeah, a little bit smaller and a little bit coarser thread pitch than the existing shifter. Yeah, this is allegedly a 12 by 1.5, and the stock shifter is a 12 by 1.5, but this is clearly not. 4 days later. So, right now some of you are down in the comments thread yelling at me, "You idiot, it's 10 by 1.25, and by this point in the video I've figured that out. Now I have a new pieces part. So hopefully this will, or this actually won't go deep enough to engage the thread. Well, that's awesome. Let's make sure that the other side actually fits, because otherwise this is going to be a problem. And watch it like completely lock at the bottom, and it's going to point away from me when the whole idea was to be able to reach this in a full harness. Okay, that's an acceptable angle. So, you know, as recently as a few weeks ago, I would have been trying to use a Dremel rotary tool. Haha. Yes, they're not sponsoring me. Rotary tool to cut through that, so hopefully it should make a little bit quicker work of that. And I was thinking that it would be nice to cut it off at the shoulder here, but the threads don't actually start until essentially in the black part of the ball here. So there's a good chance that if I cut it off here, I'll get like 3 threads to engage at the top, and I think I'm going to have to cut it off pretty close to the here as a result, unfortunately. Alright, I'm thinking that this is pretty boring, so we're going to time warp this shit. shit, fuck, ow. So one of the unexpected things about that was how hot the shift knob got from all of that grinding. I thought that the plastic was going to insulate a little bit better, that it wouldn't get hot to the touch outside, but boy did it, so I'm going to let that cool down a little bit. Apparently I'm just way too impatient for this to cool. And I just want to make sure there's not any sharp edges that I can cut myself on. Yes, I know that this is made for a rotary sander. You can put it in the comments and complain about it, but piss off, it's still sanding. Alright, I'm not going to touch it this time, because I'm sick of swearing at the camera. So while I'm waiting for that to cool, I drove this down to the inspection station the other night, and brought it back last night, and discovered that my reverse lights don't work, so there's a loose harness cable next to the transmission. I'm hoping that plugging that in will get it to fix. And I also discovered that my driver's side mirror was not where I wanted it to be, so I kind of took this off a little prematurely, so hopefully I can bing, bing, bing. Now the car doesn't have to be on, you just have to take it out of the middle position where it is. You just have to take it out of the middle position where it's set to not adjust either. Wrong. They let anybody be doctors nowadays. Doesn't have to be perfect. What is behind does not matter, right? Alright, that's much better now. Alright, do I... Okay, that's a little bit easier to get into R now, because R was a little bit of a struggle. Plus, I feel like I don't have to lean over to shift now. Oh yeah, that's much better. Okay, good. What next? Oh, right, the reverse lights. Well, I thought I was going to get lucky and the reverse sensor was going to be right here, but I don't actually know now where this goes or what it's for, because I did a little bit of research and determined that the reverse sensor is actually on the transmission itself. And on that incredibly disappointing note, we're going to have to end the episode because we've hit our time limit, which is imaginary and totally made up, but whatever. I don't want to make episodes that are forever long because I don't want to edit them as much as anybody doesn't want to watch them. See you next time. Yeah, I know this. Oh shit, that's still fucking hot. Ow.